At your job, do you ever have to deal with a nose roller? How about a snub pulley? Well, if you're installing a new conveyor belt system, dealing with the different components can sound like you're speaking a foreign language. Luckily, you've got a team ready to help. Grainger's technical product specialists are fluent in maintenance, repair, and operations. So whenever you want to talk shop, just reach out. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello and welcome to the Birds of the Roundtable for the first Victory Tuesday edition of the podcast in this new season. We're celebrating the Eagles starting the year 1-0 with a victory over the Packers. We're going to get into that game. We're going to get into a Falcons preview. I am your host, the snarky film guy, Shane. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHalfNFL. Joined as always by the crew. First of all, we've got Dives. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Dives is our stat guy fan, according to Jalen Hurts on Twitter. Dives, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Let's get it.
All right. Also joined by David. Give him a follow on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. Some people might say David is low-key always funny and cool-headed, but we'll find out this episode if that's true. David, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Are these really Jalen Hurt quotes? Is that what you said?
No, at Jalen Hurt.
Okay.
Left this review of our last episode, and so I was determined to work all of these into the intro. And so we're also joined by Ryan Reese. Give him a follow at Philly Sports PSA. And I actually can't read what he said about Ryan because it's a family show. No, I'm just kidding. He said Ryan. He said Ryan is the reactive fan that we all talk to at the bar. So Ryan, is that okay with you? How do you feel about that?
I feel great about that because that's who I am. I am the guy in my office that everybody knows to come up to and talk about the game. And I'll do that in the office. I'll do that at a bar. I'll do that at Lot M for tailgating this Monday night. Wherever you find me, you got me.
Well, he did feel the need to clarify in his comments that he meant snarky in a good way when he called me a snarky film guy. And I mean, I personally always take snarky in a good way. So there you have it. I mean, if you guys want to give a shot, David, he set such a high bar with these intros a few weeks ago. But if you guys want to take your shot at writing intros, I'll certainly use them if they're good on the podcast. So you can send those to me on Twitter at ShaneHalfNFL. We'll see what we can work out. But guys, we're going to get into it here. We're going to start off, as we always do, recapping the previous week's game before we turn the page to a Monday Night Football matchup with the Atlanta Falcons. Let's get into our Eagles' top takeaways from the win over the Packers. All right, I'm going to give you each a chance to talk a little bit about the game. We're going to go a big picture takeaway, and then we'll narrow in on offense and defense. Dives, I'll throw it to you first. What is your big picture takeaway from week one?
It was obviously my storyline heading into week one. It was Jalen Hurts versus Nick Sirianni versus Kellen Moore. We finally got to see the pre-snap motion. And, it wasn't a perfect game by Jalen Hurts by any means. But with Kellen Moore, 65.8%, we saw the Eagles utilize motion in week one. That's compared to 35.1% last season. And Jalen Hurts was really solid in that motion. 15 of 21 passing, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. And without motion, 5 of 13, 66 yards, and 2 picks per next-gen stats. So big picture-wise, you got to love that. Again, Jalen Hurts struggled with decision-making, but at the end of the day, he did enough, especially at that end. So I was really happy to see the effectiveness that we saw with motion.
Yeah, it was nice to see some interesting new elements in the offense. Johnny and I talked about that a little bit today, that it wasn't like a super Kellen Moore offense. It really felt like a mesh of what we saw last year from the Eagles, but with some other answers and motion and things added in. And so it was really nice to see. I'm curious to see how it develops throughout the season. Ryan, what's your big picture takeaway from week one?
So in shocking breaking news, I'm going to talk about our linebackers, if I may. I was blown away by Zach Bond specifically, and also Nakobe Dean. Bond stole the show defensively, leading the team in 15 tackles, 2 sacks, on his way to breaking that 5.5 over set by David. This guy was absolutely a monster. He was great in the run game. He was, just flying around. We haven't had a performance from our linebackers in forever. And you combine that with Nakobe Dean, who, I feel like a proud father. He finally was out there. He had a great game. He played about 96% of the snaps, and he was effective in the run game. He was out there making tackles. Everybody wants to kind of harp on that potential pick 6, but I still think he had an amazing day. That would have just obviously, sealed the deal there. But our linebackers, who knew? But I am so glad we're back, baby. Let's go.
All right. A well-deserved victory lap for Ryan on the linebackers. Hopefully we continue that direction. Hopefully it continues. It's not a one-off, but yeah, I was really impressed with the linebacker play. I actually got into that a lot on my show with Johnny. Went into Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean. I threw a bunch of clips up on Twitter as I was watching the film. I thought they did an amazing job. I love all the Zach Bond puns that we've got coming into the chat here. We've got Bond of the Dead, Bond to be Wild, Bond of the Planet of the Birds. Love it. David, do you have a big picture takeaway or a Zach Bond pun that you would like to lay on us?
No. I got a big picture takeaway outside of the offense and the linebackers. Is I think there was optimism with both the offense and the linebackers heading into the season, but I think there was a lot of worry in regards to the offensive line. And I think it looked pretty good. I don't think that's that big of a worry. Juergens played, I think, better than many expected him to. The Eagles must feel pretty comfortable with their offensive line as they let McMahon walk today off the practice squad. So I'd say they feel pretty good, but I think my biggest concern was still the pass rush. And I understand the field was, not great in Brazil, but I think the pass rush was a concern before the game. I think they need another edge rusher. Reddick is gone. Sweat is likely gone at the end of the season. They went into the year relying on Bryce Huff, who's played about 30% of the snaps, and they were hoping he'd be able to produce at that level and higher. They relied on Nolan Smith improving drastically in year 2, which both could still happen. It's still very early in the year, but both of those are a hope and a prayer. They let the only proven pass rusher walk, which is fine. But in order for the 2024 Eagles defense to be successful, the two I just mentioned are going to have to step up, or else it's going to be trouble all year long. And if they don't get pressured this Monday night, I think it's really time to worry.
If I asked you guys where you thought the Eagles ranked as a team in pass rush win rate after week 1, where would you guess? 1 to 32.
Like 1 being the best?
Yeah, 1 being the best, 32 being the worst. Where do you think they rank among teams in pass rush win rate?
10-12 range would be my guess.
All right. Anybody else have a guess they want to throw out there?
I will say number 8.
You guys are guessing way higher than I thought you would.
Yeah.
And it actually is higher than I thought it would be. ESPN has them as 11th in pass rush win rate, which surprised me. I didn't think that it was that good of a performance as pass rushing. And I still felt that way after watching the film. And when I was collecting some stats, I was really surprised. They had Nolan Smith ranked 14th among edge rushers and pass rush win rate at a 27% win rate. And granted, it was only on 11 pass rush snaps.
Right.
Jalen Carter was 19th with 13% pass rush win rate. And overall, the team ranked 11th. And that surprised me. That doesn't meet my eye test, but I'm with you. I'm a little concerned about the pass rush and would definitely like to see them overwhelm a pretty poor Falcons offensive line.
Yeah, I think it'd be much lower without the interior pressure of Jalen Carter being thrown into that mix, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's your big picture takeaway. Let's throw it back around the horn here with offensive takeaways. And David, we'll do it in reverse order here. What is a takeaway you have from the offensive side of the ball in this game?
Just how successful Devontae Smith was lining up in the slot. I think that is going to be a weapon that's going to be very difficult for NFL defenses to get used to seeing. I don't know. Last year, what was it, 20-some percent, 24% he played in the slot for the season. And I can't remember what it was in this game, but it was like the most he's ever done, clearly. I just don't remember the stats.
In this game, it was 70%.
Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, so I think that's the biggest takeaway. Defense is going to have to think a lot more about assessing plays during these pre-snap reads with all of the movement that the Eagles are doing. Smith should also be able to put up big numbers while he's facing all the off-coverage defenses when he gets those cleaner releases off the line and everything as well from working in the slot. I think it's a brilliant play, and I think you're going to see it rotated. I don't think it'll always be that, high of a percentage for Smith. I think A.J. Brown will get a turn in there. Saquon probably get a turn in there as well. But generally speaking, I think Smith is going to be the guy who benefits the most from that.
Yeah, he was at 70% in the slot.
That's unreal.
He's only had 2 other games in his career where he was over 50% in the slot, and none of those were above like 56%. So definitely was used a whole lot there. And like you said, I thought it worked
effectively.
Yeah, really well. Ryan, what about you? What's an offensive takeaway for you? You're muted.
Sorry about that. I was too busy laughing at all the puns in the chat. Saquon Barkley's pretty good. He's pretty good. The fact of the matter is that with the offense around the NFL this past weekend, kind of an all-time low, mostly because nobody played in preseason. So everybody got off to a slow start. Quarterback play was down. Saquon Barkley, before the Monday night game, I believe, had 9% of all total offensive touchdowns. Just himself. He had more touchdowns than his former team combined. He was as effective as I thought, and that's even starting with a -5 run play where he slipped. He just was absolutely hitting his holes. He was, that pass by Hurts to him in the end zone was amazing. I am really, really, really going to enjoy our run game this year with Saquon Barkley running between those guards, those tackles. I just can't get enough of it, honestly. And he has, with 3 touchdowns, for his first Eagle game.
Oh, I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think we might have lost Ryan there for a second. Okay, well, what's probably going to happen is as soon as I throw this to you, Dibes, it's going to unfreeze and catch back up, and we'll miss it all. But yeah, to echo what Ryan's saying, Saquon Barkley, I thought played a really good game. There were some runs that he made that did, no offense to DeAndre Swift, but he just wouldn't have made. And so I'm excited to watch Saquon. Hopefully he can retain that explosiveness over the course of a whole season. Dibes, what was your big picture, or not your big picture takeaway? What's another offensive takeaway that you had for us in this one?
Yeah, for sure. I thought one of the biggest concerns heading into week 1 was the performance of Cam Jurgens and Mekhi Becton. And I thought overall it was solid, man. You look at Cam Jurgens, 1 pressure allowed, 0 sacks allowed. He had a pass blocking grade of 74.2, run blocking grade of 65.7. Mekhi Becton on the other side, 2 pressures allowed, 0 sacks, and a pass blocking grade of 80 and a run blocking grade of 68.1. They were opening up some massive holes there at times for Saquon Barkley, and that was an impressive debut, no doubt about it. Cam Jurgens first started center. Mekhi Becton's first NFL start at guard. The Eagles piled up 410 yards. The Packers had just 2 sacks on 36 dropbacks. And we can't forget that 7+ minute final drive to end the game, which really just put the game away. That was awesome. That was definitely one of my favorite parts.
And it's worth mentioning, you said they only allowed 2 sacks. One of those sacks was a neutral zone infraction that didn't get called and nobody moved. And the other one was one of the dumbest sacks you'll ever see a quarterback take when he was out of the pocket. So they did a phenomenal job in pass protection. No sacks allowed by the offensive line, although there were 2 sacks in the game. Let's talk defensive takeaways now. And Dibes, I'm going to throw it to you first, since you're the only one that hasn't talked defense yet. What's a defensive takeaway you had in this one?
We already talked about Zach Bond. Reed Blankenship. Give me Reed Blankenship as a guy. That interception he had was so familiar compared to his first one. I remember talking about that on the post-game show. Reed Blankenship caught a lot of flack from some of us here on the show as a guy that maybe should be the 3rd safety in the rotation, but he had a very solid game. Give me Reed Blankenship as a standout.
All right. Ryan, you cannot talk about linebackers, but give me another defensive takeaway from this game.
Quinyon Mitchell is a dog. He is absolutely a dog. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, it was his first NFL game. He was out there making plays. He was, sticking to his man like glue. He was breaking up passes, and he was absolutely running with everybody. And he was also backing it up with his mouth. I love that about a good corner. If you can back it up and then you talk the talk. I mean, the man literally was going up against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith all day, every day in practice. So he is absolutely got a leg up against the Green Bay Packers wide receivers who aren't in that same hell, even in the same sport at times. I just love the swagger that he played with. I just think that we absolutely have ourselves a dude, and I think because of that, I think if he continues this route, I think it's an easy decision to probably move on from Slay after this year.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be one of those things where we screenshot that draft a few years down the road, and it's like, how in the world did Quinyon Mitchell fall that far? Really strong performance. I've loved him from day one. I think hopefully he continues on that trajectory, because it was a really impressive rookie performance. David, finish us off here. What is your defensive takeaway from this game?
It piggybacks on Quinyon a little bit, but it's Isaiah Rodgers had won the outside corner job over Keely Ringo before he injured his hand. And in this game, Quinyon played every single snap outside. He never went inside, even though he was cross-trained for that all summer long. And a lot of people thought that was going to be the position he played. So I guess my takeaway from that is, does that say more about their confidence in Avonte Maddox or their lack of trust in Ringo, who did not see one outside offensive snap the entire game? So I'm more my takeaway, I guess, is just how comfortable are the Eagles with Keely Ringo?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know which one would make it better, if they were just super confident in Maddox, who was pretty poor in this game, or
Right.
if they just have no confidence in Keely Ringo, who I thought looked really good in the preseason. I'm also
Agreed.
interested to see, now that they've seen Quinyon Mitchell a full game on the outside, do you rethink, hey, if we're going to put Rodgers on the field, he's going to have to bump inside, or are you still going to put Mitchell inside? So I'll be curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I agree, because I don't think Rodgers can really play that. I mean, he's basically never played inside, and I agree with all the commenters. Slay did play well. He played very well.
Yeah. I thought the secondary, there's a couple of busted coverages, but I thought the secondary played really well. minus some poor tackling, especially from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And some of that goes to field conditions. Some of that goes to just Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's one of the worst tacklers you'll ever see play the game of football. So, it is what it is. He's up there with Sidney Brown.
I don't know.
Love watching both of those guys. They fly around. They play with their hair on fire, and they cannot tackle. They're going to hit you or they're going to whiff, and it could go either way. So it's always an interesting experience watching Chauncey Gardner-Johnson fly downhill at a guy, but even more so on a slippery field like that. So does anybody else have any final takeaways they want to fire off before we get into our player of the games?
I thought Nakobe Dean was solid. I don't know if we mentioned him. His ability to get downhill, his ability at the point of the attack, his reaction, closing speed. I thought it was solid. Expectations were low for me. And he gave up that 70-yard touchdown per PFF. Overall, I was more than happy with Nakobe Dean's week 1 performance. If that's
and he dropped a pick 6 too. It was a 14-point swing.
Devin White's fully healthy Monday night. Do you start him or Nakobe Dean?
Dean.
I go Dean all the way.
I would too,
especially against Bijan. Absolutely, Nakobe Dean.
Yeah,
I thought Dean played really well. Honestly, I don't think it was Dean was fine or Dean was good. I thought Dean played really well. He doesn't have the counting stats that Zach Bond had. I thought he played really, really well at PFF. Grade of like 29 notwithstanding.
He was a menace going downhill, man. I mean, he was in on everything all night long.
Hey, all right. I am the president of the Sidney Brown fan club, Brian. So we got Brian chiming in, telling me to watch my mouth about Sidney. I am the president of the Sidney Brown fan club, but we could admit the guy misses a lot of tackles. The ones he hits are fun, but he misses a lot.
You're not wrong, but I will say, as anybody who's watched the Eagles as long as I do or have, there's no way I would put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson even in the top 20 of worst tacklers. I have seen some real bad ones. He doesn't even come close.
That's fair. Byron Maxwell.
I need to see more from Bryce Huff against the. I guess we're going to talk about it in a sec. Talk about like the highlight of Bryce Huff week 1 was him just on a slip and slide, just bailing out on that 70-yard bomb. If you watch that touchdown from the Packers, Bryce Huff is coming around the edge and just totally wipes out. So go check that out.
And then he if I remember correctly, he starts to get up and falls again. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was horrible, though. Honestly, I didn't think he was terrible. I didn't think he was good. He definitely didn't replace Reddick, but I'm giving all of those guys a mulligan just due to the field, man. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
You did play better than Hassan Reddick week 1, that's for sure.
Yeah,
slightly,
that's fair.
Slightly.
All right. I mean, they had the same amount of pressures.
Yeah.
But
PFF ranked them the same, but
yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our Eagles player of the game from the week 1 performance. All right, we are going to each award a player of the game from last week. We do not allow repeats in this. We really want this to be a way to shout out 4 guys who we thought had good performances. So, David, I'm going to throw it to you first here. Who you giving player of the week to for week 1?
I mean, it's the slam dunk. It's Saquon Barkley and the Giants GM. I don't know which one you want to give it to more, but it's definitely Saquon Barkley. I mean, when you have a hat trick in your debut with the new team, he was electric right from the start. He was shifty. He was fast. He was powerful. He made a phenomenal catch. I mean, if A.J. Brown had got a little bit cleaner block when he had got through down the middle, he'd had 4 touchdowns. he got caught from the one block, that missed block there by AJ. But the guy was just phenomenal in his debut, man. I don't think any fan could have been happier with his debut performance.
All right. Yeah. There's a lot of Giants fans that could have been happier with his performance. But yeah.
Saquon had like 3 key stats that was more than a New York Giants team in week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, the Giants didn't score a touchdown in week 1. So
no, their GM probably has his house up for sale right now. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, who is your player? Hold on. I should give Dibes a chance to take Zach Bond first. Dibes, who is your player of the game from week 1?
Absolutely, it was Zach Bond. Led the team in pressures, hurries, sacks, tackles, stops. He was everything. And just the way he was utilized, just his versatility at playing different roles. He's way more than an edge rusher. I don't know what the Saints were smoking, man. That guy is a baller. I'm excited to see how he looks here week 2. I'm trying not to overreact because Zach Bond might put up some crazy stats this year. David, you were so right about Zach Bond, man. I was so wrong.
All right. So we've got a Saquon Barkley. We've got a Zach Bond. Ryan, I'll throw it to you now. I had to give Dibes a slam dunk so he didn't pull like a Kellen Moore / Nick Sirianni and Jeff Stoutland and the people of Brazil as a whole.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he would have made Pele the player of the game somehow. But no, it's AJ Brown. The man took a little slow start, but once he got going, that long touchdown run of his was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. Jair Alexander couldn't keep up. I just thought he had such a great game. And Smith had a great game too. But AJ Brown, man, amazing.
All right, so we've got 2 for the offense, 1 for the defense. I'll make it 2 for the defense. I'll give mine to Reed Blankenship. I mean, you get an interception, especially in such a key moment, and that wasn't just the ball floated to him. Like he made a really good break on that. Hat tip to Zach Bond for bailing out and pushing that route vertically. It was really good coverage by Bond too, closing the throwing window. Reed Blankenship breaks downhill from center field and is able to make that diving catch. I thought it was a really good performance from him. It was a turnover when the Eagles needed it the most. So we'll keep it 2-2 here for player of the game's offense and defense. So guys, let's go ahead and turn the page now. We're going to look ahead to Monday Night Football because the NFL simply will not give the Eagles a football game on a Sunday afternoon. But we're going to give you our top Eagles matchups to watch. All right, we are going to go at top matchups to watch. Each of us is going to give you a matchup to watch in this game. We do coordinate these in advance, so there's not repeats, but we can talk about each other's as well. Dibes, I'll throw it to you first here. Give me your matchup to watch in this one.
I'm going the Eagles pass rush versus the Falcons offensive line. You look at the Packers and how they were weakest in that middle of the line. In week 1, the Falcons are the exact opposite. You got Drew Dalman, who's one of the better run blocking centers in the NFL. You've got Chris Lindstrom, who was the highest graded guard in the NFL. He plays right guard for the Falcons. And you got left guard Matthew Bergeron as a rookie, looked really solid, looking to improve in year 2. All that's gravy, but they really struggled against TJ Watt in week 1. TJ Watt put on a clinic. I'm looking at that Eagles pass rush, Jalen Carter, and that right side of the line against this Falcons offensive line. Drew Dalman gave up 3 pressures, a quarterback hit, and a sack. Chris Lindstrom gave up 3 pressures, 2 quarterback hits, and a sack. And then their right tackle, Caleb McGarry, gave up 2 pressures and a sack. That's where the Eagles should be feasting. So I want to see more from this Eagles pass rush. That still is the biggest question mark for me. And I think that will go far in saying where this game goes for the Birds.
I think it's also worth pointing out along those same lines that Kirk Cousins may just be cooked.
Their offense sucks, man. They run no play action.
Well, that's interesting. I really don't think Kirk Cousins can move at all. Like, I seriously think I had concerns about the Achilles, him coming off the Achilles at his age, especially since it happened later in the season. Kirk Cousins took 0 snaps under center in this game. He hasn't been under 28% since 2018. He took 18% of his snaps in the pistol, and his previous career high was under 2%. So they're doing that because he can't get to the running back from under center. And it's not just that movement, it's movement in the pocket too. Per Next Gen Stats, he moved an average of 3.1 yards per drop back, which is the least movement in any game of his career by more than a yard. And so I honestly think that Kirk Cousins can't move. It would not surprise me if Michael Penix Jr. is the starter for this team by the month of October, because I really think this is going to go south. I just don't think he can move. And if he can't move, I don't think he can play quarterback. And so I just think it's a health thing. And maybe it's a one-off, new offense. Obviously the Steelers have an incredible pass rush, but he just couldn't move. And so I'm really curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Cousins is the antithesis of Jordan Love. I mean, anyone who watched the game realized he couldn't move. They had to alter the offense, like you stated, to even get him back there. He was a statue. And again, I mentioned it earlier, if the pass rush doesn't get home to Cousins, it is definitely time to worry about that pass rush.
Yeah, I'm laughing at this comment. Our chat is on fire tonight. We've got a comment coming here. It says Kirk Cousins has the same mobility as RoboCop. I love it, man. Okay,
Bryce Huff's going to go, dead or alive, you're coming with me.
All right, David, I'll throw it to you next. What is your matchup to watch?
I went with the Eagles defensive backs versus the receivers for the Atlanta Falcons. The biggest concern, the 2 biggest concerns, I guess, aren't even their receivers. It would be who's going to cover Bijan Robinson and who is going to cover Pitts, because Pitts essentially is like a slot receiver in their offense. And I mentioned it earlier in regards to Ringo. Will Quinion line up against Kyle Pitts? Like, who are they going to use to cover him? But good, because you're going to have to put Vaughn or Dean somewhere in the flat for Bijan. So, and their offense, like you had mentioned how altered it was, like I think that Ray McLeod led the team in targets and Bijan was second in targets. So they weren't even able to get the ball out to the receivers that much. I think Drake London only had 3 targets. Pitts only had 3 targets. It was just such a putrid performance that if the Eagles do not dominate that matchup, I would be concerned, just like I would with the pass rush. This is a matchup that they should easily be able to dominate.
They also, by the way, altering the offense in week 1, they had 22 snaps in shotgun, 0 running plays. Yeah. They took 26 snaps in pistol, and they ran it 81% of the time. So there were very clear tells by alignment if it was going to be a run or a pass. Surely they can't let that fly again in week 2, but if so, the Eagles have to capitalize on that. Ryan, I'll throw it over to you next. What is your matchup to watch?
All right. So I think I originally said I was looking at the Eagles linebackers, obviously, versus the Falcons tight ends, but I'm going to amend that slightly. And I'm going to say just our run defense versus Bijan. I guess you could say Algier as well. although he didn't get. Did he even get any rushes? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was pretty much mostly Bijan Robinson. But this is a much different running back than Josh Jacobs, and you could see that our run defense started to kind of break down in the second half, and Jacobs was able to find those holes and find himself 10 yards, 15 yards here and there. Bijan's gonna kill you for that. So I'm really wondering what they're going to do to adjust, or is it a conditioning thing? I would hope not this early in the year, but they need to do a better job in their run defense. There were a lot of positives, especially from our linebackers, and Jordan Davis certainly seemed to be in on a lot of plays, although he wasn't graded out that well. We need to be able to finish those plays, and I'm going to be paying close attention to Bijan Robinson. Hopefully not running all over us.
I'm going to say something that I thought I would not be saying after week 1 of the regular season. Hold on. I need to move my notes so I can see all of your faces when I say this. Nolan Smith needs to play more early downs because Josh Sweat was horrendous in run defense. And I mean, we can say a lot of things about Nolan Smith's struggles rushing the passer. He does a good job setting the edge in the run game. And there were a lot of times on the film that Josh Sweat lost contain because he tried to make a move inside. Well, like, your one job, play side, as the edge is to set the edge. That's why we call it an edge defender. And he would lock out and then try to shed inside and give up the edge. As we got a comment here from Brian about Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis getting moved in the run game. I don't think that's their fault. Johnny did a whole segment on this in our show, but there was a lot of times they were slanting, like they were attacking diagonally instead of penetrating upfield, and they're not freelancing to do that. Like, that's schematically called. And for whatever reason, a lot of times they had it slanting at the running back. But the problem is in the shotgun, like, the run is always going to go the opposite side, right? The running back's moving. And so they were essentially washing themselves out of plays. I don't really like that. It's something that was being done schematically. I think if they stop doing that, they'll probably be better at run defense, but it's definitely something that is worth keeping an eye on. So, okay, my matchup to watch, since you guys all went defense, I thought I'd go to the offensive side of the ball. And my matchup to watch is Jalen Hurts against the Falcons secondary. I mean, they've got, legendary Eagle Justin Simmons in the secondary. They've got Jesse Bates, so a really good safety duo. AJ Terrell is a good cornerback. So they've got a formidable defensive backfield. And we just watched Jalen Hurts have shaky decision-making in the opener. And a lot of it, I thought, was him trying to be too aggressive, feeling like he was pressing, trying to do too much at times. In this game, Hurts may have to do it through the air a little more. The Eagles' offensive line just allowed the 4th highest rate of contact behind the line in an Eagles run game dating back to 2021. And the Falcons have a really good run defense. They were 2nd in rushing yards over expectation allowed in 2023. They just did a good job against the Steelers running game, which the Steelers offense leaves a lot to be desired, but they've got a really dynamic mobile quarterback too. And so there's the possibility that what you're being given in this game is the passing attack, and it's going against a pretty good secondary. So to me, it's looking for Jalen Hurts to have that bounce back game, especially if the run game gets shut down and he's forced to be one-dimensional on offense. So anything else that you guys want to shout out before we get into our picks of the week? I
hate this comment so much. I mean, Taco Bell just slaps every time. I hate Taco Bell and the hate it gets. Taco Bell is delicious.
The comment here, Jalen Hurts' decision-making was worse than the chat at the Taco Bell drive-thru. I have not been to a Taco Bell drive-thru in many, many years, but it was some bad decision-making for sure. Yeah. What's funny is we didn't have the larger Hurts discussion. Outside of 3 really stupid decisions,
he was good. 1
inaccurate pass to A.J. Brown on a dig that was open and he just dirted it. Yeah. I thought the read option game wasn't working, but I thought he did well as a passer. But you can't just say outside of 3 really stupid decisions, because 2 of them were picks and 1 of them should have been a pick 6. Yeah. And so, I'm not concerned about the fumbling thing. You're going to work that out. It's a new center. That's fine. You're going to work that out, but he does have to play smarter. And that's not what we haven't typically seen Hurts struggle with decision-making. So I'm not concerned about it long-term, but you got to fix it this week, especially against a defense like this. So, okay, let's get rolling into our Eagles score predictions. We've got the picks. We've got over-unders. Let's go. All right, player of the game predictions. Just like when we award our player of the games, we're all going to pick somebody different. David, I'll throw it to you first here. Give me your player of the game prediction for this week.
Hey there, it is Ryan Seacrest with you. Do you want to make this summer unforgettable? Join me at Chumba Casino. It's this summer's hottest online destination. They are rolling out the red carpet with an amazing welcome offer just for you. So don't wait. Dive in now and play hundreds of social casino games for free. Your chance to redeem real prizes is just a spin away. Care to join me?
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
I am going to go with Jalen Carter.
How dare you?
How dare you?
I love it. 1 for the fake out for pausing after you said Jalen, and 2 for stealing Dibe's perpetual answer. Love it. Ryan, who is your player of the game prediction?
It's going to be Devontae Smith, baby.
I can't believe you didn't say Zach Bond.
Hey, listen. I love my linebackers, but I'm also trying to win. I think I would assume Terrell will be mostly on A.J. Brown. Therefore, Devontae Smith should hopefully be able to eat in his absence. So let's go Smith.
Yeah, that would have been my pick if you didn't take him. I think that's a really good one. Dibes, who's your player of the game prediction?
I have a feeling that Devontae Smith is going to be top of the league in 3rd down receptions this year, man. For my player of the game, give me A.J. Brown. I know he's going up against some good competition this week, but this is A.J. Brown we're talking about. The Falcons had 0 answer for George Pickens in week 1, even though they knew that was coming. Give me A.J. Brown with a couple touchdowns.
All right. Give me Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff's going to have the game this week.
What?
I'm speaking it into existence. Bryce Huff's going to go get some sacks in this game. It's against a struggling offensive line. It's against a quarterback that can't move. If we can't sack this guy, we're in trouble. So I'm going to speak into existence. Bryce Huff notching some sacks in this one.
That's an L.
Hey, ye of little faith. Let's throw it around the table for score predictions. I'm going to lead us off here. I have the Eagles just dealing with the Atlanta Falcons, taking them out at home, the real home opener. Give me 35-17 Eagles.
Ooh,
Nice.
All right, David, what do you have?
The Eagles win easily. I think you'll be able to turn the television off at 10 o'clock. 31-13.
David, they can't turn the television off. They have to watch the whole game and then tune into the post-game show right afterwards and hang out with us to celebrate the victory. But I appreciate the sentiment.
That's fair.
All right, Ryan, what do you have? Give me your score prediction.
I will be down there, so I will not be able to turn off the television. But I went with 41-24 Birds. They are just going to.
They're both birds, Ryan. Which birds?
Oh, come on. You know what bird I'm talking about. Get out of here. Ain't no dirty birds. Get out. Eagles, baby.
All right. And Dibes, I assume you'll make it the clean sweep here for the Eagles. What's your score prediction?
I also went with 31-13.
Wow.
That's nuts. Let me change that. I'll say 31-14 just for the hell of it.
It's like the price is right. All right.
All right, so we all have the Eagles winning. We all have the Eagles winning by a sizable margin. Going over unders here. It looks like we're all over on the points. Is everybody over under 48.5?
No.
Me and Dibes on.
Uh,
Oh, you're not. You're at 44 and 40. Okay, so Ryan and I are over on the points. Dibes and David are under.
and also the chalupa is the superior Taco Bell taco.
Hey, time out. Before we finish this, we got to go back to last week's. How many did we all get right last week?
I'm
I
pretty sure I won.
have
Let's not even look at it.
I have it
I
right.
got everything right.
Okay, so everybody got 7 except for
Dives.
Dives got 6.
Dives lose.
Okay, so we're all neck and neck. We'll track these throughout the season. Wait. It looks like, but we didn't get. Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay, let's go to over under Jalen Hurts passing yards at 279. Dibes, what do you have?
I don't even remember what I picked. I'm gonna go over.
All right, over. Ryan, what do you have?
Well, here's the thing. I also do not remember what I said. But I said over, and I'm right. Hey, there it is. There it is.
All right, I'm also going to take the over on this one again. I think that there's going to have to be a lot of passing in this game for the Eagles, so I think Hurts is going to get it done. Over for me. Ryan, David, what do you have?
Same. Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, over under Zach Bond total tackles. The line is set at 9.5. David, what do you have?
Over.
All right, I also will take the over on that one. Ryan, what do you got?
I'm pretty sure I went under here. No, I went over.
Oh, you went over.
Never mind.
All right, and Dibes has the under. If it was 10.5, I would have taken the under.
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure I said he would just barely get over.
yeah. Okay, Saquon versus Bijan. Those almost kind of rhyme. Saquon Barkley total yards or Bijan Robinson total yards? Who has more? Dibes, what do you have?
I'm going Saquon. Got to go with the hot hand. I think the Eagles most likely make the Falcons one-dimensional here. Give me Saquon.
All right. And Ryan, you also have Saquon. I'm going to take Bijan Robinson in this one. I think the Eagles' run defense was pretty poor week 1. I think the quarterback can't move. I think they'll try to run the ball quite a bit. And I already mentioned I think the Eagles will prefer an air attack. So give me Bijan Robinson in this one. David, what do you have?
I went Bijan also for many of the same reasons. I think the game plan was to make it the Saquon show down in Brazil, but I think it's a completely different game plan for week 2.
All right, over under Bryce half total sacks 0.5. Can we make this 0.25? Because there is a half a sack, so it could technically push at a half a
That's
sack.
fair.
Technically push, but I went under, man. He needs to show me. I'm not bailing on the guy yet, but again, I'm just hoping this was a footing issue. I'm hoping this was just Brazil, yada yada yada. Move past it. And let's show us something on Monday night. So until he does, though, I'm saying under.
All right. I took the over on this. I mean, I can't pick the guy to be the player of the game and not take the over, but I do think he's going to get the sack in this one. So give me the over. David, where are you at?
I heard he had some bad Brazilian Taco Bell and just didn't feel well last Friday night. So I'm going with the over. He's going to get a sack.
All right. A.J. Brown total receiving yards over under 119.5. David, what do you got?
Under.
Under. All right. I also took the under on this one. Again, I think that he's going to be shadowed by A.J. Terrell. I think it's the Devontae Smith show. Ryan, what do you got?
Yeah, same thing. Exactly. I didn't pick Devontae Smith to get it for A.J. Brown to just blow up. So I think that he holds them under 100 yards.
All right. And Dibes, what do you have?
Smashing that over. Just Terrell didn't do anything against George Pickens, so give me A.J. Brown cementing himself yet again week 2.
All right, and final one, over under Kyle Pitts total receiving yards at 39.5. Dibes, what do you have?
I went under. I thought that was one of the surprises of week 1. The Packers didn't really do much when it comes to Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. I was pretty surprised at that. I even had Luke Musgrave starting last week on my fantasy team. That was a bomb.
Terrible.
Yeah, not good decisions. But anyway, I don't know. I just feel like that entire Falcons offense is dysfunctional right now. They don't really know what they want to do with these guys. Give me the under.
All right. Ryan, what do you have?
I'm going over here. I think Pitts certainly struggled with limited targets. I think Kirk Cousins kind of shakes out of that, whatever that was, his first game, and starts distributing the ball at least a little bit more. And Pitts has an ability to get 40 yards in a couple of passes, and considering he might be covered by linebackers, I think he matches up pretty good. So I'm going over.
All right. I also have the over on this one. I just think Kyle Pitts is really talented. Kirk Cousins got to figure out how to get him the ball. When he was in Minnesota, they traded for TJ Hawkinson. I think he's just got to get on the same page. I think Kyle Pitts gets over 39.5. David, what about you?
Yeah, I think he gets over for much of the same reasons. I think he's going to be the outlet because he's not mobile enough to last long enough to throw downfield to wide receivers. So,
all right. So there you have it.
To Pitts.
All right. There you have it. That is our over under predictions and score picks for the Eagles on Monday Night Football not in Brazil. I almost said in Brazil, their home opener. Right. We will be live immediately after the game. At least Dibes and I will, for post game. So be sure you come hang out on that with us. Guys, let's throw it around the horn here for final thoughts. David, final thoughts, plug your stuff. What do you got?
You can follow everything I do off my X handle at PHL Eagle News. I'm trying to do a fantasy piece every week. I was pretty successful on this week's 5 top players to pick. So you can look out for that if you play fantasy football. My one that I was wrong is I apparently share the same brain of Dibes. I went with Musgrave as tight end and got a big goose egg, but I was gambling on the Eagles, just struggling with the tight end position, but it was not meant to be. But other than that, just don't look at my tight end predictions. But other than that, they were really good.
All right. Be sure you're following David on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. His stuff is fantastic. Ryan, what do you have?
Yeah. Got a couple of shows every week. Monday, 6 o'clock, football smack talk show, 9 o'clock, with this guy, Party on Broad. Obviously you're watching one of 5 shows that I do, the best Eagles show in the nation, every 8 o'clock a Tuesday. Right after this, also on the Eagles Pinpool Network, which, by the way, if you aren't following, what the hell are you doing? Please give us a follow, give us a rating, go on Spotify, Apple, the whole 9 yards, every single thing that you can do. Yeah, give us a good rating there, 5 stars. But we got the Armchair Scouts talking about a quick review of week 2, looking into week 3. For the college football game. And then, of course, the other college football show that I do with Dibes, the Party on Broad version of it, every Sunday at whenever we feel like it. Kind of doing the same thing, but we focus on Eagles targets as well. So there you go.
And if I can give a shout out, I forgot to mention it, but I really liked the inclusion of adding Phil to the Eagles check down. That was fun to listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, we already hear him for 2 hours every day, but what's another 10 minutes, man? I mean,
right, exactly.
And it was straight to the point. It was good. I really like the addition of that on the network.
Yeah, you guys be sure and check that out. We've added a new show to the feed, Eagles Check Down, every morning or every weekday morning. Phil is going to have a 5 to 10 minute breaking. That's not always breaking news, but quick hitter type stuff. To catch you up on, things you might not have seen the day before. Maybe you don't spend a lot of time on Twitter or reading the blogs, and you just want a quick show to listen to while you unload the dishwasher. Phil has got you covered for that. So check out episode 2 will drop tomorrow morning. So be sure you're there.
Sweet.
Dives, plugs, final thoughts, floor's yours.
Final thoughts, just doubling down on AJ Brown. The dude hit 21 miles an hour last week. That was the third fastest he's gone in his career. The guy's as elite as it gets. He tore up Jair Alexander, 4 catches for 108 yards and a touchdown on 5 targets. AJ Terrell, we can agree Jair Alexander is a better player than AJ Terrell. So AJ Brown, big game week 2 against the Falcons. Final plugs. We'll see you in just a few minutes. So hang out, more of us. And the winner of the night was the comments. They were amazing. This comment about Tobias Harris winning the debate tonight, I'm just dead. I'm dead.
Yeah, if you guys are not watching this show live, first of all, thank you for downloading. Please continue to do so, but you should really consider coming and hanging out with us if you can at 8 o'clock every Tuesday night, or maybe more like 8:10. You know how it is. But come hang out with us. We have a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in the chat. We go live every Tuesday night. Continue to download, rate, review, all of those things. And we will catch you guys next Tuesday night for another Victory Tuesday edition of Birds of the Roundtable. Go Birds.